My mother got accustomed to me getting in trouble, and it wasn't right. You know, my mother was a good woman. She worked really hard trying to make sure that her son spoke well, to make sure that her son had an education, to make sure that I was a good person. And, you know, it got to a point where when she would come to visit me in jail, she was okay. She was able to relax knowing that her son was safe. And no mother should have to go through that. I came from a middle-class family, and going against everything that I was told to do as a child, I decided to make bad decisions that were fun. And because of making those decisions, I had consequences. And the consequences that I was given, there wasn't any leniency. I was sentenced to long-term in prison, and you know, it was for breaking in somebody's house, which of course I knew was wrong. My parents didn't teach me to do things like that. We lived in a very nice neighborhood and my parents worked hard. However, that didn't matter. When I made the decision that I did, the judge saw fit for me to be sentenced to a long-term in prison. And even though, you know, there was people that had far more heinous crimes than me in the same cell as me, they were given lower bonds. For example, my bond was over $1 million. And the person that was beside me killed somebody, I think, with a golf club. And his bond was like $200,000, maybe $500,000 at the most. And of course, he made bond because of privilege and because, you know, they had lots of money and influence, which, you know, I couldn't do those same things. So I went to prison, and I was traumatized. I was a child. At 17 years old, one of my cellmates had life in prison. You know, he was never getting out. And that was where my teenage life ended and my adulthood began. Unlike all of my friends, where they were learning how to buy houses and having stable jobs, I was learning how to survive. And learning how to survive, I learned how to turn my emotions off. You know, getting out at 21 years old, I hadn't learned how to do a lot of things that I mentioned. So I had to learn on my own, which I didn't do a good job of, so I got into doing drugs. I wish somebody had explained it to me really simply. Don't do that because you will enjoy it and you will no longer care about anything else except for that feeling. And then what ends up happening is you open up something in your body and in your mind and in your soul that won't allow you to stop. So things got really bad. And that's not the life that I saw for myself. You know, inside I always knew that there was something else. I always knew that there was something more. I continually went to prison and got out of prison, went to jail, got out of jail, over and over and over. I repeated this for over 15 years. So finally I asked for help. And once I asked for help, I got the help I needed. I started doing things that were prosperous. I started to do things that made me feel good about myself, and that was helping other people. Once I got off drugs, I continually help other people to get off drugs. Being able to deal with someone exactly where they're at makes it a lot easier because I understand those feelings. I understand being scared and excited. I understand never having done something and wanting to do it and not knowing how. So with the help of other people, I'm able to support my other peers that are just like me, not have to make the same mistakes that I've made. And I'm also a tattoo artist. So I'm a peer support and a tattoo artist. So I get to tell my story to a lot of people. I get to come in contact with lots of people. And you know, I'm very fortunate to be able to come in such close space with people. When people give you the privilege of coming in their personal space, there's a feeling that goes along with that. And that's a good feeling. It's being trusted, and when I'm able to do that, that gives me another purpose in life. In order to tap into the good parts of me and not to go back to the things that I did, that were bad or didn't have any type of good moral compass, I continue to try and move forward and give back to the community. I want my story to help people, not to make the same mistakes that I've made.